Okay, so hey everyone. Now I'm gonna just break down all the stuff that I use in this remake, all the effects that I use, and all the sounds that I use. Which, of course, everything is free. So I'm gonna put description link below for everyone that wants to get the sample packs that I use, all the effects that I use. Maybe the effects are pretty much common, so you can just Google it and you can find it, and you can download it straight from the internet. So I start from the hi-hats here. On the hi-hats, I use a sound called DNC Hat 4. Sounds like that. This is the stock pack called Legacy. It's from FL Studio. So yeah, it's just stock from the FL Studio. And I use a bit of effects in there, OTT, a little bit, an EQ, and use transient processors to make it more subtle, more EQ for transitions, a little bit of wider, and ozone major 2, which is an important factor. I use to stereoize to make it sound better, especially in the mid part of the stereo. And yeah, pattern's really simple. And next sound is the claps. Claps I use, it's called Vintage Hand Clap. Also stock from the FL Studio stock drum pack. And you can get it from the DAW itself. And then use OTT again. Reverb a bit. Used only the wet knob and only use like 5%, I think. Then a little bit of EQ, some vinyl, also for the transitional parts, and I use a little bit of wider. Stereo imaging is pretty important to make your song better. Then transitional clap, it is right before the actual clap here to make it that. For this, I use a plugin sound from Cymatics. Shout out to them. I'm gonna put their link in the description where you can download it for free and check out all their other stuffs. Their stuff are absolutely one of the best ever. And shout out to them, man, to making such great sound packs like this. I use this switch, use a little bit of effect on it, the same type of effects I used previously. And then next to Rimshot, I used Cymatics again, Cobra Rimshot Snare 11. And what I did is a little bit of final for the transitions, some EQ, subtract some stuff in and boosting some stuff there. A little bit of OTT, a little bit of depth, only around 30%, like how I used it. And lower down the high, I wanted the mid and lows to boost it. And then that's it. And then next sound will be the bells. And the bells I use in some voices, like in the intro. You hear a little bell sound there as well. And this I pan it a little bit to the right, and I use a sample from BTDK. This is Bryson Tiller drum kit. You can Google it, and you'll be able to download it. There we go. Put the link in the description as well. Then next I used shakers. Shakers I pan it a little bit to the left. Use EQ, OTT, processor, and camel crusher here. Put a little bit of distortion, and that's basically it. I use Bryson Tiller drum kit. For the shakers, I layer both this hat and this shaker from Kabas Cymatics again. And it creates this sound. There we go. And then next we go to the percussion. Percussions here I use for the intro. You can hear here. And a little bit on the mid parts. Use it as well. I use the Bryson Tiller drum kit Perk 27. Oh, a little bit stored there. Yep, put a little bit of EQ, camel crusher, distortion and filter, a little bit of compressor, some OTT again, a little bit more depth this time. In processor for the attack and release. Final, Also stereo imaging here. Next to the open hats. The open hats I use the Bryson Tiller drum kit again. This just sounds so similar, so like why not just use it? Open hats I use only EQ and his own imager too. So sometimes you don't need to put crazy amount of effects. Just need to keep it simple. And then for the kick, I use Bryson Tiller drum kit again, kick. In this one I try to find a sound that is more focused on the lows, not in the mid kick. So I keep it simple on the lows. That's why it kicks very simple sounding, very low, very bassy. Give that bassy feel. I use some EQ, and again, I cut off all the stuff in the middle, so only low mid can survive. So only the kick, that feeling of the kick stays in there. And I also put out the sub bass, so to give more space for the 808s to shine, so the kick don't gather together and glued up with the 808s. And on the 808s, the 808s, what I use a plugin, it is called 808 BM2 Lite. Very cool 808 plugin. It's free. I'm using this preset called, I don't know how to pronounce that, Ghanaians Long 808. Yeah. Parents very simple. Parents just those two keys right there. Very long, very simple. And what I use the 808s, just Camel Crusher to distort it a bit, compress it as well. Some EQ. EQ cut off everything from the low mids. Only keeps the bass to the sub. And also use Ozone Imager too, a little bit. And then the piano. The piano, I use a plugin from Labs. It's a very cool plugin. You should definitely check it out. There's a lot of voices in there. I use the piano to make it simple. And yeah, I'll put a little bit of reverb over there. And it doesn't need to do too much effects here, just some EQ to cut off all the unnecessary frequency, stereo imaging, and also I use a dump pedal sustain for the piano. And after that, Rhodes. The Rhodes is actually exactly the same like the piano, just literally copy paste it, so it just layers out the piano, make it sound very similar to the original. And what I use here is Keyzone Classic for the Rhodes. Lower down the sound so the piano stands out more. And also I only use EQ there to cut off the unnecessary frequency again. And then this is the little ambient sound in the part where Benny started to sing here. Heard out the song. Yeah, I know it doesn't really sound similar like the original song, but I thought the mood was there, so I don't need to find something too close, but this is like pretty close enough. I use a piano pads from Labs. It's called Piano Pads Radio preset, and yeah. And also I use a little bit of Supermassive. This is like a reverb plugin, super cool. Then a little bit of stereo imaging, and then I pan it a little bit to the left. Then the riser I use only once in this part. I use the Cymatics Cobra Reverse FX4 from the Cobra Hip Hop Sample Pack. Very cool pack. And yep, and it have a little stereo separation over there. Just a little bit of reverb. Leave the tail hanging. That's it. There's a little bit of reverb for the outro for the piano here. Get that wide and spacious ending. and everything else is automated effects for the transitions, and basically it. So how I make this drums is basically just by putting the original song on top of it. So I have a reference track that I can hear, so I can hear all the details and perfect everything on its place. So that's how I got all the transition correct, how I got all the hi-hats correctly, all the transition, each sound of transition sounds exactly pretty much the same, because I literally listened to it side by side with the original, so it's as close as I can. It's not exactly the same, but it is close enough, in my opinion. So yeah, it's basically how I remade the song. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from this, and showing you guys that you can make songs and you can make beats out of only free plugins and free sample packs, and nothing gonna limit you, and you should be able to make anything that's on your mind as long as you can maximize of what you have and all the plugins that you have, all the sound packs that you have. Use it to your maximally and you'll do great. So thank you for watching, guys, and see ya.